This is an overview of the primary characteristics of the categories represented by the cards for teaching mindfulness in a student-led or algorithmic manner. It's important to know what each of these cards represents and to know it very quickly, to know it without much thinking, to know it automatically. What we'll begin with are these two cards, which we call our skill cards. This skill we refer to as focus. The focusing skill means that we pay attention to something and has two aspects. First aspect is that we bring our attention to something. If our attention wanders, then we bring it back. This is called concentration. The second aspect of focus is the ability to examine the thing that we are concentrating on, to penetrate it with our awareness, and therefore to clarify what it is. So focusing has two aspects: concentration and clarity. The second skill is the skill of allowing. The focus card is like a camera lens here. That's how we think about it as focusing. The allow card is an open circle. And that indicates that we allow experience in and we allow it to go out. We allow experiences to arise and to pass away. So allowing also has two characteristics: the ability to allow experience to arise without resistance, and the ability to allow experience to pass away without resistance. The next set of cards to look at are these cards, which we call the sense cards. There are three different ways that we perceive. We can perceive by seeing, we can perceive by hearing, and we can perceive by feeling. We think about seeing, then what that refers to is any visual experience at all. Any kind of visual experience. There are two different kinds of visual experience, which people generally notice. One is that a person sees something outside of themselves. So right now I'm in a room, I am looking at a chair in front of me, I see the wall, or if we're with friends we see them. That's seeing something on the outside, and these arrow cards in this particular case refer to outside. It's also possible to see things on the inside. That means that our eyes are closed, but we still can see our friends in our minds, or we can see any number of things in our minds, anything at all that we can imagine, we can see in our minds. Now, it isn't just seeing that has two characteristics. Hearing also does. Now, hearing is defined as any auditory experience, and if you're with your friends, for example, then you can hear them saying things to you. For example, right now I hear the fan of the computer that I'm working on. But we can hear things in our minds. We often talk to ourselves in our heads in order to figure things out. We also may hear a tune in our minds. That's hearing on the inside. These arrows in this particular case refer to the inside. And feeling is any bodily experience. Feeling is a little bit confusing in terms of the distinction between inside and outside. Feeling on the outside means that we're feeling the physical world. Feeling anything about the physical world. Anything at all. So, that could be feeling the chair that I'm sitting in right now. You can feel pressure against this chair. It also might be the touch of my clothes on my skin, or feeling the temperature of the air in the room, or feeling thirsty or hungry. Any of those are examples of something that we feel on the outside. It's also possible to feel something on the inside. What does that mean? That means something very specific. It means feeling emotions. It means the bodily reaction to an emotion. Anytime that we feel emotions, that is feel in. It's a little bit confusing because something like a muscle cramp is not feel on the inside within this system. But emotional anxiety resulting from that muscle cramp is something that we feel on the inside. Happiness, sadness, shame, laughter. All of these are things that are included within feeling on the inside. And these 6 ways of sensing are the usual way that we perceive the world around us. Now, there are 3 special experiences that we can have, which I call the 3 superpowers. This one is what we call positive or good. What is it to experience good in the technical way that we're referring to it now? It means that we are creating and nurturing good content. That might be something that we can see. We imagine ourselves succeeding, for example. We intentionally create an image in our minds of ourselves succeeding at something. Another possibility is that we can intentionally bring up something good that we can hear. We say in our minds, "You can do it. You can do it." For example. Just one example. And bringing up good feeling would be that perhaps after we see and hear ourselves succeeding at something by imagining ourselves succeeding and then saying, "I can do it," or "You can do it" to ourselves, then we feel good, and we intentionally brought up happiness, pride, interest, joy. And so we call this good feeling or positive feeling. The plus sign indicates that we're adding that experience because we're intentionally creating it. I want to be clear that just because something feels good, just because we consider an experience to be good, that does not necessarily mean that this card refers to it. This card only refers to content that we intentionally produce. This card refers to rest, and that means more or less. It's actually a very complicated experience to explain, though it's very simple to experience. It is some experience of looking into a focus space but not seeing content, looking around or through the content. So the minus sign has two meanings. It can mean that we are letting go of the content, or it can mean you can see it as sort of a flat line. Content dissolves. And once again, you can have this experience within each of these three modalities. You can see rest. That would mean that you close your eyes and just look at the blank screen behind your eyelids. There's no content there, but you are seeing. It's possible to hear rest, and that means that you listen to a silent place in the room, or you go to a silent place where there are no sounds and you can hear silence. And this one is very commonly used in mindfulness to feel rest, and that means a sense of relaxation, which you can intentionally produce through tensing and then relaxing your muscles or taking a deep breath, whatever you want. Restful states can be intentionally produced, but we're not producing any particular content in the way that we are with positive, or this plus sign, then good. The final kind of superpower that I want to go over is flow. As flow is any kind of movement or energy or change or force or pressure or impermanence, any kind of flow at all within our experience. Anytime that we observe something and we pay attention to the change or the force or the energy in it as opposed to the content itself. So if we're breathing, we may pay attention to the way that the breathing feels, or we may pay attention to the way that the breathing is flowing, and we pay attention to that flow, that change itself. That is the experience of flow. So what we're going to do now is go over each of these one by one. I'm going to bring them out, say what it is, and hope that you can say it out loud as you watch this before I do. And what is that? What's the word we use for it, and what is the definition? This is focus, refers to paying attention to something that we choose to pay attention to, something that we consider important or relevant. It has two aspects: concentration, which means attending to that particular thing and bringing our attention back again and again if it wanders, and clarity, which means examining that thing, penetrating that thing with our awareness until what it is becomes more clear. And what is this? This is called allowing. It means to not resist experience, and it has two aspects as well. The aspect of not resisting experiences as they arise, allowing experiences to arise, and the experience of not resisting experiences as they pass away. The ability to allow things to pass away. And these two cards, focus and allow, are what we call the skill cards. And what are each of these? What's the word we use, and what is the definition? This is called see, and it refers to any visual experience. This is called hear, and it refers to any auditory experience. And this is called feel, and it refers to any somatic experience. And now let's look at these one by one. What is this? This is referred to as see in. It means that we can see something inside of our minds. And what is this? This is called see out. It means that we see something in the objective physical world. And what is this? This is hear in. Means that we hear something inside of our minds. And what is this? It's hear out. Means that we hear something in the objective physical world. And what is this? This is called feel in. It means emotional experience as we observe it in our bodies. And what is this? This is feel out. It is anything we feel with our bodies that refers to the physical, objective world. Very good. And what about this? What does this refer to? This is called good or positive, and it refers to any experience of creating and nurturing good content. And what is this? This is called rest, and it refers to the attenuation of content, or the ability to look into a space and not observe any content, whether there is content there or not. This, again, is very complicated, and there are many specific examples which have specific meanings. And what is this? This is called flow, and it refers to any experience of change, movement, pressure, force, or impermanence. Anytime that we observe the way an experience contains energy, as opposed to paying attention to the particular form of that content. This is very good for you to know all of these definitions, for you to be able to skillfully use these cards will be of immense benefit to you and to anyone to whom you teach mindfulness. Thank you very much for moving through this lesson. And thank you very much for your interest in mindfulness.